Your mind feels heavy. You walk into a room and forget why. You read the same sentence 3 times. You blame stress. You blame age. But what if I told you the real problem might not be in your brain at all? It might be in your gut. As a doctor, I have seen hundreds of patients come to me saying, "Doctor, I feel mentally slow. I can't focus. My memory is getting worse." They expect a brain scan. They expect a memory pill. But often, the real story begins in their digestive system. Let me tell you about a patient I'll call Ayesha. She was 34, young, active, and terrified. She thought she was developing early dementia. She couldn't concentrate at work. She felt exhausted, bloated, anxious. Her labs for the brain were normal. But when we examined her gut health, everything changed. Her microbiome was imbalanced. She had chronic inflammation. She had nutrient deficiencies caused by poor absorption. Her brain fog wasn't a brain disease. It was a gut crisis. You see, your gut and brain are constantly talking through something called the gut-brain axis. This communication highway runs through the vagus nerve, immune signals, and chemical messengers like serotonin. In fact, nearly 90% of serotonin is produced in the gut, not the brain. When your gut lining becomes inflamed or leaky, inflammatory molecules enter your bloodstream. They travel to the brain and trigger neuroinflammation. This slows down neurotransmitter signaling. It affects focus, memory, and mood. That cloudy, sluggish feeling, that is inflammation whispering to your neurons. And here is what most people don't realize: bloating, constipation, diarrhea, sugar cravings, and brain fog are often part of the same story. When bad bacteria overgrow, they produce toxins. These toxins can cross into circulation and disrupt brain function. This is not alternative medicine. This is neurogastroenterology, a rapidly growing field studying how digestive health shapes mental clarity. Now here is where it becomes powerful. You are not helpless. If your brain fog begins in your gut, you can reverse it by healing the source. Start by stabilizing blood sugar. Remove ultra-processed foods that feed harmful bacteria. Increase fiber from vegetables to nourish beneficial microbes. Add fermented foods like yogurt or kefir if tolerated. Chew slowly. Support stomach acid production by avoiding overeating and chronic antacid use when not medically necessary. Sleep deeply because your microbiome has its own circadian rhythm. Ayesha didn't need memory medication. She needed gut repair within 8 weeks of dietary changes, probiotic therapy, and inflammation reduction. Her mental clarity returned. She cried in my clinic, not from fear, but from relief. So if you feel mentally dull, don't panic. Ask yourself, how is my digestion? Are you bloated after meals? Do you crash in the afternoon? Your brain may be asking for gut support, not another cup of coffee. If this story resonates with you, stay with me, because your clarity is not lost. It is waiting for healing. One afternoon, a 42-year-old businessman sat across from me and said, "Doctor, I feel like my brain is wrapped in cotton." He was successful, disciplined, and physically fit. But by 3 p.m. every day, his focus collapsed. He relied on caffeine. He skipped meals. Then he overate at night. He thought he had an attention disorder. What he actually had was metabolic chaos starting in his gut. When you eat refined carbohydrates and processed sugars, harmful gut bacteria thrive. These microbes ferment sugars and produce byproducts like lipopolysaccharides, which trigger systemic inflammation. That inflammation doesn't stay in your abdomen. It enters your bloodstream. It reaches your brain. When the brain senses inflammation, it shifts into protection mode. Neurotransmitter production changes. Dopamine signaling weakens. Motivation drops. Focus fades. You call it brain fog. Your body calls it survival mode. But here's something empowering. Your gut bacteria respond quickly to change. Within days of improving diet, microbial diversity begins to shift. That means your mental clarity can improve faster than you think. I guided this patient through simple but powerful steps. First, we eliminated added sugars and ultra-processed foods. Second, we increased colorful vegetables, especially leafy greens and cruciferous vegetables rich in polyphenols. These compounds feed beneficial bacteria. Third, we added omega-3 fatty acids from fatty fish to reduce neuroinflammation. Fourth, we regulated meal timing to stabilize insulin and prevent energy crashes. Within 3 weeks, his afternoon brain fog reduced dramatically. By 8 weeks, he reported sharper decision-making and calmer moods. He did not need a stimulant. He needed microbial balance. Remember, your gut bacteria help produce B vitamins. They influence magnesium absorption. They affect short-chain fatty acids like butyrate, which directly protect brain cells. If your gut is inflamed, you cannot absorb nutrients efficiently. That means even a healthy diet may not nourish your brain fully. This is why some people eat clean, yet still feel mentally slow. The missing piece is gut integrity. If you want to sharpen your thinking, focus on 3 daily habits. Eat real food that your grandmother would recognize. Avoid constant snacking to allow the gut to rest. Move your body because exercise increases microbial diversity and boosts brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which supports memory and learning. When you repair the gut lining and reduce inflammatory load, the brain feels safe again. Clarity returns naturally. You don't force it. You create the environment for it. If this insight surprises you, imagine how many people are blaming their brains while neglecting their gut. The solution is not more stimulation. It is less inflammation. A young university student once told me she felt stupid. Those were her words. She used to be at the top of her class. But over 2 years, she developed chronic bloating, irregular digestion, and persistent fatigue. She struggled to study. Her confidence collapsed. She thought stress was destroying her intelligence. What we discovered was deeper. Chronic gut inflammation had led to micronutrient deficiencies, particularly iron, vitamin B12, and vitamin D. These nutrients are essential for oxygen delivery, myelin formation, and neurotransmitter synthesis. Without them, cognitive performance declines. No matter how motivated you are, your brain cannot function without proper fuel. The gut is the gatekeeper of that fuel. When the intestinal lining becomes compromised, often due to stress, antibiotics, infections, or poor diet, absorption suffers. Silent deficiencies develop. You may not look sick, but your neurons are undernourished. That undernourishment feels like confusion, forgetfulness, low motivation, and even mild depression. We repaired her gut step by step. We removed inflammatory triggers. We introduced gut-healing nutrients like L-glutamine and zinc. We restored microbial balance with targeted probiotics. We corrected her deficiencies carefully and monitored progress. Within 3 months, she said something powerful. I feel like myself again. Not superhuman. Not stimulated. Just clear. This is the difference between masking symptoms and restoring physiology. When your gut lining heals, tight junctions strengthen, inflammation decreases, the immune system calms, nutrient absorption improves, blood flow to the brain stabilizes, the fog lifts naturally. Now, ask yourself, are you sleeping poorly? Are you stressed constantly? Chronic stress alters gut permeability through cortisol pathways. It changes microbial composition. It reduces beneficial bacteria that protect the brain. Managing stress is not just emotional care, it is neurological protection. Practice slow breathing to stimulate the vagus nerve. Spend time in sunlight to regulate circadian rhythm. Avoid unnecessary antibiotics. Support digestive health daily with fiber diversity and adequate hydration. Your brain is not failing you. It is reacting to signals from below. Listen carefully to your digestion. It may be telling you why your mind feels distant. And if this message speaks to you, share it with someone who believes their brain is broken. Sometimes the clearest thinking begins with healing the gut.